for every artist that creates something that's worth sharing, you owe it to yourself to capture that vision as best as you can, to capture the feeling, the emotion as best you can. And if you did that properly the first time around, when you felt it, then it's always gonna be inside you, because it's you. You were the one that did it. You were the one that felt it. So you know it better than anyone. And so when it comes to actually getting it out there, creating it, it's like, it's just doing yourself a good service to match what you had, and to even put yourself back in that headspace for a time if you need to, in order for it to be authentic.
Okay.
And sometimes it's hard to be open with yourself emotionally, especially if what you made is something that's deeply emotional, but you owe it to yourself and to everyone else who's going to see it for it to be authentic.
Welcome to the Academy for Adventurers podcast, where every story is a new expedition. Join us as we explore real-life adventures, battles, and moments of growth from people forging their own path. Because life isn't ordinary. It's an adventure worth living. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Academy for Adventurers podcast. I'm your host, Mauro Schiavo, and today we have a very talented and gifted guest for you, Michael Garcia. How are you?
Hi, thank you so much for having me, Mauro. It's such a pleasure to be here. Thank you for that amazing introduction.
You're so welcome, and it's a joy for me to have you. I genuinely am thrilled to have you, and I'm gonna go ahead and read your bio. That way we can get this started. Alrighty. Michael Garcia is a 22-year-old songwriter and artist, currently studying business. I can't believe it, man. At Florida International University. I'm an alumni. Wow, super cool. I can't believe you're, man.
Almost done too.
You're almost done.
Yeah.
That's incredible. We'll talk about that, I'm sure. He's actively working on creating his first music album while continuing to grow as both a musician and a creative professional. In addition to his studies, Michael teaches. What? You teach at an art school?
I do. Yeah.
And he is developing his skills in recording and music production. He works alongside a small group of incredible collaborators who help bring his creative vision to life. Music is Michael's greatest passion, and he looks forward to sharing more of his work as his journey continues. Wow. Welcome.
Thank you so much.
You're going to have to tell me, how did you decide to first and foremost study at FIU, and why business?
Okay. So going to FIU was sort of always gonna be my path. That was the goal, at least. From high school, I did finish with an associate's degree from Doral College. I was very, very fortunate enough to be able to have early admission into my last year of high school. I was able to just
How
finish
early?
college. How early?
Okay.
Just on the last year.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so then I just went to FIU after that, and there's been ups and downs, and I've taken breaks here and there. I'm not in any rush necessarily to finish a bachelor's degree. Mostly, I wanted to go to learn how to manage a business and to grow as an entrepreneur.
Interesting. So I did the same, and so I ended up starting in business. I changed my major a few times, and then what I ended up settling on was doing entrepreneurship. And that was something that I chose to do because I realized that, at least for me, the business courses and the business trajectory just wasn't, like, I wasn't learning what I thought I was going to learn, but entrepreneurship provided me with the opportunity to actually talk about, like, being an entrepreneur. And I met some interesting people in those classes. And I have to say that good job. I think they did. I think they did a good job with their entrepreneurship program. Like, how has your experience been? Like, how has the business program been for you?
Well, I've been fully online, so it's a little
Mhm.
bit difficult to like
Really?
meet people
Okay.
and network in that way for
Okay.
business.
Okay.
It's definitely
Okay.
possible, especially with group projects and things like that. But I
Yeah.
have always been just like I want to just get in and get out. I don't really care to go onto campus or anything. Uh,
Really?
Sort of
Okay.
the path of least resistance has been the most helpful.
The path of least resistance.
Yeah, that's just been
That's funny,
my
man.
experience, but it's been
That's funny.
definitely enjoyable being fully online. I can make my own schedule. That tends to work for me. My hours
Mhm.
sometimes are a little bit all over the place. I have trouble sleeping at night. So
Okay.
if I and then I get migraines as well. So it's like if I don't sleep and I get a migraine, then
Uh,
I'm out. So it kind of helps me navigate that to be online. Um,
okay.
I've been okay for a while
Okay.
now. Actually, I've been really trying to prioritize that. It's
Good.
allowed me to be
Good.
productive in a creative way, which is the way that I want to be productive. So
Good.
it's
I would I would link you. Well, I can't make the introduction personally because I don't know him personally, but I have gotten a lot of value out of watching Andrew Huberman's podcast on YouTube, and he talks a lot about sleep and how to help improve your sleep hygiene, among other things, health wise. And I know for a fact that he did address migraines at some point. And so I would, just for you and for the audience, I've been watching Andrew Huberman's podcast on YouTube for years now. And there's something called non sleep deep rest, which is a very fancy nap, and it's basically a combination of proven scientific tools that help you even recover from a bad night's sleep and mitigate some of that. And I've been doing the NSDR for short. I've been doing that for 2 years now, and it has dramatically increased my energy and my sleep by just listening to his meditation. It's available for free on Spotify. It's also available for free on YouTube. Non-sleep deep rest. It's 10 times better than a nap, and it's only 20 minutes of your day. It has been done wonders for me, man. It's really good. I would highly recommend it for you. I really would, and for anyone else that struggles with sleep hygiene.
I'm definitely gonna look into that. I
Check
can't
it out,
nap.
bro. You won't regret it.
It's
What?
impossible for me to nap. Can't do
Yeah.
it.
The good thing about NSDR is that it is a guided sort of meditative experience. And so it is. That's why I'm saying it's so much better than a nap, because you don't technically fall asleep, but your brain is able to enter into a state where it mimics the same waves that are produced during sleep. That's what's super fascinating about it. And this guy is not a hocus pocus type of guy. So if he's saying it works, I mean, he's on staff as a professor at Stanford. Though this guy is a brain, and very buff too. Very good inspiration for men, And I know that you like to exercise,
I
so
do.
I think you'd find his content very edifying.
Yeah,
So how did how did the passion for music? Where did it come from, and why?
yeah. Great question. The passion for music has I've always sort of been involved musically in my life one way or another. I grew up singing in school. I tried to be in choir. I even tried drama at one point, but acting was more so theater acting
Sure.
at Somerset is what they had. Yeah, but which I didn't do, but sort of just trying my best to be musical. But it actually wasn't until recently, I would say, like around the time of the pandemic, that I started getting into music, into like,
Mm,
mainstream music, outside of like soundtracks and things, random little songs I would hear like on the radio. Getting into artists, and
okay.
I would say the first artist that I really got into was Olivia Rodrigo, and
Tell me about her. I don't know.
she's a pop artist. She was an actor early on in her career, and then she's like my age, but she started her music career in like 2020, and I got in on the hype train um, very shortly before she released her second album. So I kind of got lucky being able to like listen to more of her music. But she's been an inspiration for me to be a writer and to see like, oh wow, this is music and songwriting that really resonates with me. And like, if she can do it, then I can do it. And so
What was it that resonated with you? What was it?
just the music itself, the way that her and her producer um, Dan Nigro, Dan Negro, I don't know how it's pronounced. I can't remember, but just the way that they write their songs, the way that the instruments come in, how like her lyrics, they're very honest and
Hmm.
very very high quality. And to me, that matters so much.
Give me a lyric that resonated with your soul. I'm sure you can say
Oh
it.
man,
I'm sure.
on the
Yeah.
spot. Let's see.
On the spot. Yeah.
Um, oh man, I have a
That's
couple
okay.
that
Take
come
your
to
time.
mind. One of
Go
them
ahead.
is in a song called "Favorite Crime." It's one of my favorite songs on her first album, and
Favorite
she
crime.
says, "Oh my goodness, I lost it now."
It's coming. It's coming back.
Yeah,
It's coming back.
it's you can probably pull
Okay.
it. Oh,
I'm gonna
yeah,
look it up. Don't worry.
it's "Four Hands Bloody." I don't remember what comes before that. That's the important part. That
Okay.
song.
Ah, all right. So I from what I see, it's in the second stanza. So it says here, know that I loved you so bad. I let you treat me like that. I was your willing accomplice, honey. And I watched as you fled the scene, doe-eyed as you buried me. One heart broke, four hands bloody.
Yeah, yeah. One Heart Broke, Four Hands Bloody was kind of like that. Just it just
Wow,
hit. It's so deep. You know?
that's deep.
It's very deep and honest, but very poetic
Indeed.
without being sort of like like conceited in a way.
Like overtly conceited,
Yeah,
right? Right. It's like a genuine admission of like, hey, I'm suffering here and we're both to blame, you
yeah,
know? And what I find very particularly honest about that, because I'm in agreement with you, is that she says four hands, not two. So she's also taking, at least the way that I'm interpreting it without even having listened to the song, is that she's taking ownership, at least of part of it anyway, that it broke. What do you think the song means in its entirety?
oh, man. Well, that song in particular is about it's about a relationship where she she was sort of used, whether knowingly or unknowingly, but she's sort of in this position where she loved this person that hurt her, and to them it might not have been like a big deal, or it might not, they didn't love her the same way, but they still mean everything to her. And to me that just resonates with me a lot, and this is very beautiful, and all of her songs are like that in one way or another. And so yeah, that's why she's definitely an inspiration for me in my writing, to be honest with the things that affect me.
I think we're gonna link the song in the show notes, at least for people to check out. Hopefully, we don't get a. I don't think we'll get a copyright strike for that. I don't think so. You never know with YouTube. Honestly, they're banning people left and right sometimes.
Yeah,
Has that ever happened to you? Have you ever had a sort of unrequited love like that she describes in her song?
man. I would say,
You don't have to go into detail. You can just say yay or nay.
I would say yes.
Okay.
And even friendships as well.
Friendships too.
Yeah, just
Okay.
one-sided relationships, or like, so people hurt each other. It happens. That's
Hmm.
life, and
Hmm.
not everything is equal in everyone's eyes. And so, while something might
Hmm.
mean the world to you, it might mean nothing to me, and that can cause pain. And
That's so strange, isn't it? It's so strange to think about that because oftentimes when I'm talking to my wife, and we're driving down the highway, and she'll say, Mauro, every single person that we're seeing in those cars is their own world. And that's crazy to think about. It's crazy to think about that. And they have different interests, and but what's funny is that we're all driving on the same road, but we're all going to different places. Yeah.
I think about
Just
that all the
sometimes.
time.
Do
I
you?
do, yeah.
Do you? That's interesting.
I'm very attentive when I drive, and I try
Hmm.
not to look at people, but it just happens. It just happens. So
Sure.
I'll look over,
Sure.
and I'm like, wow, like I noticed one person, and then I start seeing everyone else, and it's like,
Hmm.
man, this is one road at this one time on a never-ending street of traffic. It doesn't end.
In South Florida. Yeah, man. It never ends in
Person
South
after
Florida.
person in waves, in groups, and every single person has their own life and their own story. And getting to make music is the equivalent of getting to say, I may not know you and I may not be seeing you, but
Hmm.
I'm here with you. Whatever you're going through, I'm here
Hmm.
with you.
I'm here
And I
with
know what
you.
it's I know what it's like.
What do you like to sing about? What do you write music about?
Honestly, just being honest. Being honest with my emotions, with my relationships, with who I am as a person. I think that that's the most important thing that someone can write about, is their life. Oftentimes, the best art comes from the place of the most passion. And sometimes we're really
So
passionate about things that hurt us.
mm, okay. Okay. You you chose to highlight honesty in particular. Why?
So when you were making your business, you didn't set up your business based on a dream that you didn't believe in, and
Hmm.
based on a mission that you weren't standing behind. You
Hmm.
were all in and you're successful because it's something you believe in. It's something that you're honest for. And so for
Hmm.
me, as a writer, I have to write from a place of honesty, or else what I'm giving isn't going to be worth hearing. Because that's what makes the best art. And as a perfectionist, it's in my nature, but also on principle, I believe in making the best thing that you can make, and not sacrificing on that for anything.
Where does that come from?
That comes from the place of, when I release a song, it's going to be out forever. And I owe it to everyone that will ever come across me as an artist or as a person. They know that they're getting the best thing that they could be getting from me. And for myself as well, I want to, I, I, because it's something that I believe in so strongly, I want it to be good.
Yeah, belief is an interesting thing, because oftentimes, whether if we realize it or not, the majority of our life is based on faith. I mean, we were using that car analogy before, and we act as if, yeah, you know, I'm gonna make it. I'm just gonna get in my car. I'll be there in 20 minutes, babe. And we just take it for granted, but sometimes that's not the case, and especially in South Florida, it's not the case. You never make it on time. But yeah, like all jokes aside, like yeah, like what happens if you don't, and that's a reality sometimes. It's scary to think about, but we if we lived such that we had no faith that we would make it, then we would just never do anything at all. So I think that belief is not only something that is conceptual, but it's very practical. Because otherwise, without that, we just wouldn't do anything at all. It's a necessary precondition. Faith is a necessary precondition, regardless of how you choose to define it, whether if you're putting religious connotations to it or not. It is a necessary precondition just to live. Have you ever thought about it like that?
I don't think I have in the way that you're wording it, but I think that that's an incredible way to think of faith.
Well, I can't take credit for it. I mean, I learned it from somebody else, but it did resonate with me a lot when I heard it, because I think that sometimes people misconstrue faith and belief as a purely intellectual endeavor, but it's very, very, very practical. And not only that, it's embedded into everything that we do. I mean, I have faith that this chair right now is not going to fall apart. Otherwise, I wouldn't be sitting in it. I have faith that you are going to do your best as the guest to want to make this conversation as fruitful for you. That way you can get your music out there. Like I don't think you're going to be here trying to sabotage yourself, or sabotage me for that matter. So I think that we take a lot of things on faith, and sometimes people just don't see that.
Yeah.
They don't see that. How has God inspired you in your music, and how has he guided you on this endeavor and this adventure?
Yeah, I think that's another reason why
Hmm.
I strive and do my very best to make the best music I can, is because I know that it's not just for me. It's to honor the things that God has given me, like my future family, my girlfriend, whatever fans I might have. Like I want to have I want to have the platform to show people that you can be good in a world that is not, and in a world that tries to be deceitful and to not be honest and to not grow, and to just talk about God and my experience in my life, because I know that if I can help a handful of people to be a better version of themselves, or to get them through a tough time, or to know that they're not alone, I mean, that's everything. That is everything. And so that's why I strive for perfection as the standard, because I know that God is the one that has given me that.
That gift, that talent that you have. Yes, indeed. And have you ever seen the My Hero Academia anime?
I have not. I've heard
Okay.
good things.
Yeah. So there is I'll just give a very short rundown of the show. But basically, it's a society where everyone has superpowers, but they're called quirks. And the quirks can be something very, very insignificant, such as being able to create a little bit of extra heat or shine a light, to like being super strong or super fast, or even looking different and having a very large body, whatever. And the main character has a quirk that is called One for All. And the quirk is something that was given to him, but he also had to nurture it. And that gift was given to him, that talent was given to him, but he would only be able to use it first if he developed himself such that his body could withstand having it within him, but he also had to develop it so that way he could make it better. And I feel like that's what God does with us. Like God gives us these gifts and talents, but we have to participate. We actually have to use them. as we know from the Gospels, right? Christ says that we're not supposed to hide a light under a bushel. We're supposed to have it on top of the hill so that way everyone can see it. Like, do you feel like your music could be a light on the hill? Do you feel that?
I definitely think so. Yeah. And even if it even if I don't always write songs that are happy, I know that I am a happy person. And if if you can point at a song and say, "Oh, well, that song isn't necessarily a light on a hill." Well, I'm the light on the hill that God is shining.
Mm.
And so when they look at me, they're going to see that. So either way, that's it accomplishes. Yeah, it accomplishes that same goal.
What makes you happy?
Life. I think
Mm.
I have practiced a profound love for life, and I
What does that
that's
mean?
why we're here. That's a part of it.
Mm.
Um, to appreciate the beauty in all of the things that God has made, in
Mm.
the things that He's given us, friends and our family, and we walk outside and like I love taking pictures. I'm like a photographer.
A
My phone is
photophile?
yeah, my phone is just full of pictures of the sky, of trees, of nature, like anything that is beautiful. I want to capture it and appreciate it. And I think that that's such a big part of being happy is appreciating the things around you. Because if you don't, then you're just always going to be focused on the things that bring you down. When in reality, life keeps going. And so if you don't keep going, then you just go nowhere.
Life will leave you
Yeah.
behind.
And you might as well enjoy where you're going while you're going there. So having a vision and enjoying every step of the way to achieving that vision are, I'd say, the two most important things to being happy.
Yeah. Especially if you feel like God has called you to it, if it's your vocation. I know sometimes the word vocation is used in different contexts, but when I refer to vocation in this context, vocation comes from the Latin word vocare, which basically means to call out. So it's a calling, so vocation is a calling, and that is typically used in religious context when it's in that particular context. And so, do you feel like God has called you to sing and to write and to have the music for everyone to hear and enjoy?
I do. I don't
Okay.
think I would be doing it if he didn't. And I this is something that I've prayed for, not
Hmm.
necessarily that I knew, oh, I want to write music, but something that I've prayed for to say, if this is what I should be doing, um, God, please, please help
Please.
me. Like I I don't know what I'm doing and I need your help. And there
Ah,
hasn't been a single moment where I've felt like I couldn't turn and look at something and be like, that is literally a blessing from God, because there's no way that this would happen if it wasn't for divine support. That and I have to put in as much work as I can. Like you were saying, it's
yeah,
a gift that we have to nurture. It's given, but
yeah.
we make it grow. And
We
it's the
make it.
same thing with music, with making music, with writing. It's like I have to give myself the space to write. And if I don't, I'm never going to write. And it's not something to force, it's something to allow to flow. And so if the river isn't flowing, it that doesn't mean that you're doing something wrong, but if you're not there to see when it is flowing, then you don't know what can come out. And so as a writer, that's what I give to anyone who wants to write, is to actually allow yourself the space to write and be open. And that's how
When you
God's been
say
blessing me.
okay, Okay. So God has been blessing you through that space. How does that space look like for you? Like when you say give yourself space, like how does that look like?
Literally giving yourself time to be still, if you could think of it
Be
that way.
still.
Yeah,
That's rough, man.
yeah.
That's rough.
It is. And stillness doesn't always look um like calm confidence. Stillness
Mm.
looks like I'm here in this space and I'm present. And I'm not necessarily going anywhere. That's stillness. It's being with yourself wherever you are, however you are. And that's when you can breathe and be like, this is what I'm feeling. This is what's going on in me, inside of me. And then you can let that out. But you don't know what's inside of you unless you actually stop for a moment and listen to yourself.
I did a training for Barry University. They have a ministry team that I am helping to train and facilitate. And basically, I would use the verse, be still and know I am God. I used it in almost every single training session I did with them because it's so hard now, because everything is calling us to move. Our phones, work, responsibilities. Don't get me wrong, a lot of it is good, a lot of it is necessary. It's not necessarily a lamentation only, but it is a lamentation, and it is an acknowledgement and an awareness of the anxieties of modern day life that we have to deal with on a daily basis. And to carve out space to sit down and write is becoming a very, very, very rare thing. Unfortunately it is. And I know that there are people such as yourself that are fighting back, but what would you say to the aspiring artist or writer that is trying to do that, but they just can't do it? Like they're just struggling with it. Like, how did you learn to facilitate and create that space for you?
It's always there. You just might not allow yourself to be there.
It's like oxygen, it's always there.
Yeah. And sometimes you have to make the choice to take a deep breath. You know, it's not something that just happens. It's not going to magically happen where you just one day all of a sudden sit down and start writing. It's just not going to work that way.
People make it seem like that, unfortunately, like there are, we know maybe bad films and bad stories or bad TV shows that like, or even documentaries and biographies, that they make it seem like, like Stephen King became the best horror writer in like a day, or like Elvis Presley was like just magically the king of rock, and that Michael Jackson was, was just born that way, and it's not the case though. We know that. But we fought for it even though we know it possibly can't be true. But we fought for it still.
Yeah. Well, the good thing is that you always will have some form of time. And if it's not this week, like I know someone that I'm helping become a writer, and this week, these past couple of weeks at his job, like he's been working 12-hour shifts every day. And
Okay, that's rough.
he's
Yeah.
he's heading a huge project. And so it's like, okay, maybe not these couple of weeks, but eventually you will have the space and the time. And eventually it can become a part of your routine. And if it's not a part of your routine at some point, it's like visiting, it's like hanging out with one of your friends. Eventually you make
Sure.
time.
Yeah. Yeah, and if you don't, the relationship dies,
And
you
you
know.
are your own friend. And so if you don't make time to hang out with yourself and be with yourself and get to know yourself, then who else is going to? You're the person that can do it. And so it's just about doing it.
A lot of the great athletes and performers oftentimes they speak of themselves in third person. Like I've heard LeBron's interviews sometimes, and he'll talk about himself in the third person. And I find that curious because there is an acknowledgement that it's like he's dialoguing with a separate entity. And people like Jordan Peterson that are very much psychological because he is a clinician, they'll talk about how thoughts are interesting because they will come from places that will shock and surprise you. And it's like, who thought of that? And like, where did that come from? So there seems to be a very interesting relationship that we have with consciousness because it seems to be something that is us, but is separate from us at the same time.
I agree completely. Completely. We have our mind body connection, and then we have who we are. And who we are is not always going to be our mind body connection. And so I like to think of it like I I am sort of opening up to myself and being my own like therapist in a way, being my own like safe space. Which I mean, if you're not your own safe space, then that's rough. That's not a world I want to live in. And
Yeah.
being my own safe space in that way where I can be honest, and this is where the honesty comes in, is
Mm.
I'm able to make I'm able to write and make art that is real. And I feel like as humans, we can tell when something of art is real. And that's what makes it beautiful. That's where we add all the value to it because it's like, oh, well, this is great art because of the context of passion and beauty, and like this person felt this when they made it.
People will often spend thousands of dollars to go to Europe and see old cathedrals. People will spend thousands of dollars to go also to Europe to see the Alps, for example, the Swiss Alps and the Italian Alps. And people will also spend a lot of money to go to an art museum. I mean, I had the privilege and the honor for my honeymoon to go to Italy and France and in Paris, beautiful city as a tourist. Try not to tell them you're American because they're not very kind to Americans. We had to pretend that we were Spanish. And you can't tell them you're Italian either because that's also a problem, which is really so. I was screwed on multiple fronts. So I I had to tap into my wife's Nicaraguan heritage, and anyways, but going to the Louvre was a very unique experience. I don't know if you knew this, but at least when I went back in 2023, they they would give you could pay for it if you wanted a virtual tour. But guess what device they gave you? It shocked me so much. They gave you a Nintendo DS
Really?
that was equipped with a cartridge that was like a game that they made like for a 3D Louvre on the Nintendo DS. I'm like, where am I right now?
Yeah.
What is this? Like, and it was just so funny. Worked quite well because with the touch screen and you could zoom out and they had two screens, so you could have the headphones listening to something through audio, but also displaying what it was on the bottom screen. Very, very smart. I have to say, Nintendo definitely got a good contract with that because I'm sure they must be making a ton of money from it.
That's so silly though.
Isn't that silly?
Yeah.
Isn't that so?
Never ever would have guessed that.
No, but people go there because of what you said. They know the art there is real. It's real. I mean, you can't fake that. And you can be like me that is probably just going for the tourist experience and is not necessarily even an art critic by any stretch of the imagination. I am an amateur movie critic though. But when it comes to art, like even me with my undeveloped critique and sense of critique, I had a very big, beautiful, profound experience being there, and it was worth every hour. Like I would do it again and
Yeah.
yeah.
And
That's the power of art.
yeah, that's why we do what we do. Is for that. So that you can have an experience and be like, wow, this I want to experience this again. This is something worth experiencing. And that's what I do. And it's interesting because we had talked earlier about sleep. And
Yeah.
pretty much almost the entirety of my first album is it was written in the middle of the night. Like
Interesting.
not being able to sleep at all and just
Wow.
thinking, just being awake.
Interesting.
Not even doing anything, just laying in bed with my eyes closed and just not being able to sleep and saying, okay, well, if I'm gonna be awake, I might as well do something. And sure, that wasn't necessarily resting. It's not resting to dive into your emotions and to write about them, but it is creating something beautiful. That's what it is.
Indeed.
And you can
Indeed.
it is a form of rest in a way to say, okay, I know that what I'm going through is not for nothing. At the very least, I can make something beautiful and passionate out of suffering. And I think that's why we suffer.
Why do we suffer?
We suffer in part because what comes out of it is beauty and strength, and we suffer so that we know that other people go through things too. Like we're not the only ones. If you've suffered, then we've all suffered in one way or another. And how we can express and share that is through art. And that's one of the biggest reasons why it's beautiful, is because that's something that is universal through every language.
Mm.
Talking about going to the Louvre, and you are different from someone who goes from Japan, and you don't speak the same language, you don't have the same experience, and but you go and you both see the art, and you're both like, wow, this is something that's beautiful, and it moves you because it's real.
There are several things in life that I believe are innate to the human experience and are universal languages. Music is one. Physical art is another. Yeah, I mean those are the two that very quickly come to mind. I know there's a few others, but yeah, they're universal languages that we can all relate to. And what's funny is that when my wife was born in the U.S., but she was raised for many years in Nicaragua, and because we're the same age, we're both 32, she would listen to the same music at the same time, but even though she didn't know what it meant because when she was little she didn't speak English yet, but she just still loved the music even though she couldn't understand the lyrics. Isn't that something? Like I listen to Japanese music all the time and my Japanese is very 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 basic. It's only like greetings. I understand several phrases. I have a decent vocabulary thanks to my sister, my brother-in-law, and my trip to Japan. But like, yeah, I listen to music in a language that I don't understand. Like, why do I do that, Mikey? Like, and that's a serious question. Like, why do we do that?
You do that because you can still feel the beauty of it even if you don't know what they're saying. It's almost it's still there. The words are there in the music, and that's what good music is. It's not just good lyrics. You can have amazing lyrics, but it won't come across unless the music matches that. And with Take It All, my first song, it was not necessarily challenging to do that. I just I had never done production before. And so when I went to the studio, I was definitely very like anxious about, well, I was more nervous than anxious, but about the producer that I was going to be working with, and sort of if he'd understand my lack of knowledge of production and all of the lingo and all of that. And how it would go is, here's the song. I play it on acoustic guitar. It kind of has a very, very quick and brief understanding of what I want. And then I tell him, okay, I kind of want to do something like this here. He's like, okay, I know exactly what you're talking about, and we're gonna do it exactly how you want it. And then we did it. And so all of the music matches the lyrics pretty much perfectly. The emotion that I want to convey, because that's what music is. If I had no lyrics in the entire song and I was just saying gibberish, it would have the same feeling.
Interesting. Reminds me of body language.
Mm-hmm.
Body language is something that you can read, even though there's no sounds or words to read. We still use. I find language very interesting, and that's why sometimes I will say where words come from, like I did earlier with vocation, because I do enjoy etymology, the study of words and where they come from, and language in general. But I wanted to ask you, who or what is your muse?
I I will say, can you define that a little bit more?
What inspires you to write? Who inspires you to write? Like what is it that you say, if I have a conversation with this person, or if I listen to this thing, it's going to put me in a mood that will probably inspire me to write something and create.
Yeah, I would say for me, that's not
Hmm.
necessarily how I write.
Oh,
And
interesting. I didn't expect that. Interesting.
yeah, well, that's why I wanted you to elaborate just a little bit, just in case I was missing something in the question. But
Very wise. Yes.
that is not my method. And I would say
Hmm.
for writers, it's one of two things. You either write all the time, every day, and it's a part of, like, it's like breathing, or you do what I do, and some of my favorite artists also do this, where they they will give themselves the space every now and then to just, if anything flows, the creative brain, to let that sort of run free for a little while. And I don't do that all the time, but also there's a time for being creative, and then there's a time for like working. And right now I'm in the time for working. And
Okay.
I I
What does that look
could
like?
still give myself room to be creative, but
But how does that look like when you say working? Like, what are you working on, or what are you working in?
yeah, so that's all the fine details of, like, I'm not necessarily creating something from scratch. I am now building the vision that I already made.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I've already, for
You're
example, Better
executing
For
it.
You. Yeah, for example, like with Better For You, my next single.
Ooh, better for you.
Yeah, it's.
Better for you or better for me? I'm sorry, man.
I'm trying to think about that.
Hopefully, it's better for me as a listener, right? Um,
For everyone.
better for everyone except me.
Oh man, that's fun. But yeah, it's already. I already wrote the song, and I already have all the
Mm,
music in here. The
mm.
music comes when I write it. It's hand in hand, and so now it's just getting it from here to here, and that's with production, recording, and there is a component of creativity that goes into that, and not being afraid to be creative, trying different things. But for me, because the vision is already completed, I'm just trying to capture that as best I can.
What is the vision, Mikey? I mean, I know it may be a lot, but that's why we're on a podcast, What is the vision? Yeah.
For that song specifically, in
Well,
general.
if it's for that song specifically, or even how you were referring to it, just taking the vision from your head and doing this and doing that.
Yeah. Well, I'll start by saying this.
Mm-hmm.
For every artist that creates something that's worth sharing,
Mm.
you owe it to yourself to capture that vision as best as you can, to capture the feeling, the emotion as best you can. And if you did that properly the first time around, when you felt it, then it's always gonna be inside you, because it's you. You were the one that did it. You were the one that felt it. So you know it better than anyone. And so when it comes to actually getting it out there, creating it, it's like it's just doing yourself a good service to match what you had, and to even put yourself back in that headspace for a time if you need to, in order for it to be
Mm.
authentic.
Mm. Mm. Okay. Okay.
And sometimes it's hard to be open with yourself emotionally, especially if what you made is something that's deeply emotional. But you owe it to yourself and to everyone else who's going to see it for it to be authentic.
We live in a very strange world now because oftentimes there are artists that will very, very, very blatantly release music that is referencing a breakup that they had. And I don't even remember, fortunately, the name of the artist, but he's a very famous artist in the Latin American world. I think it's Maluma. Like he made a song about like his ex like cheating on him and going with someone else, and I can imagine like it's hard for me, at least as someone who listens to the song, like I wonder how much of that is genuine and how much of that was just done for the money. You know, I don't know the answer to that question, but I can imagine that for everyone else or just artists, I'm not even just saying that because he has a lot of money. I'm not saying that. But he doesn't strike me as someone that's very, very, very authentic. Unlike you, which you are authentic. But I imagine that for authentic artists, it must be very difficult to write from a place of pain, or at the very least, to be totally honest.
You're saying for authentic artists or inauthentic artists?
For authentic artists, I imagine it's painful to go there.
Yes, but it's based on the idea that you are already there. You've already been there. So it's not that you're forcing yourself to do something that you haven't done. It's like
Interesting.
it's meeting yourself where you are, being open with where you are. And so for an artist like Maluma that makes a song about being cheated on, it's like it, if he's feeling cynical about it and he's like, man, like you suck, then that's what he's gonna write. And so if that's the emotion he wants to capture and that's what comes across, then he was successful in what he wanted to create.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that that's how a lot of people feel as well. It's like,
Sure.
man, like I don't deserve this, you suck. And they don't want to be sad about it. They just, you know, and I'm not saying that's how the song is. It's just an example. And so it's if that's how you genuinely feel, then that you can know that that's how someone else feels, because you're not, you're not ever alone in your emotions. That's for sure.
That's for sure. You have very evocative song titles. Why take it all? Who's taken what? And what is all?
Yeah. So that is the last line. That's the second to last line in the song. Why did you take it all? Why did I lose it all? Is how I end it. And I think that that's just very self-explanatory. Why, like, you took everything from me. And I think there's a lot of metaphor, if you can call it metaphor, but
It
a
is
lot of
metaphor. Sure.
implications in that. Um, and what I find valuable, and what other people will find valuable in relationships, is like it's it's not even always about the other person. Sometimes it's about your identity, how you see yourself, what that person meant to you, and then them as a person as well. And so all of these things culminate into like you encapsulated my entire life, and then like you took it all away, and so I lost everything, and now I have to start from nothing. And so it's a very simple line. I wrote that song in probably 30 minutes, 20 minutes, and that that wasn't all the music for it mentally that I had, but the writing, like the actual lyrics and how it was structured, it's sometimes it takes time not only to write, but then to sort of format it in a way that's really good for music.
Right, right, right. Because it's not like poetry. Well, poetry also has a structure, but yeah, I imagine it's not like you're writing a novel.
Yeah.
Uh, it's not you can just okay. Well, now we're in the room and then we're going outside. Like it doesn't work like that in music. I imagine you have to be intentional because you're also trying to sync it with notes, right?
Yeah, in its most basic form, yes.
In its most basic form.
Completely
Yeah.
correct. Yeah.
Forgive me. Remember, I'm not a
For sure.
musician, so I
No.
have a very basic, rudimentary understanding.
That's why I'm here. To explain those things.
You're actually right. You are here for that
Yeah.
purpose.
Yeah, I would say with songwriting, it's definitely
Mm,
there are two main things that have to be going at the same time, because you can just write
you can
poetry.
just write.
That's just poetry.
Sure.
Um, but poetry doesn't always line up well with songwriting. And so songwriting is just a more intentional and almost limited in a way, um, a more intentional and limited version of poetry, because it has to be compatible with another medium. And so there are times where I I'll just write something because I'm in my head, or I'm feeling emotional and I just want to write, and I don't have any intention of making a song. And sometimes if I look back at something and I'm like, I really love this. Like this is beautiful. And I'll have to almost change it, well, not change it, but reformat it in a way that works. And that takes time. And so that's part of that creative space that I have to give myself in order to say, okay, well, I need to just sit here and play my guitar and sing and just try to make it work.
It's it's difficult because, and I think that's part of. I think that's at least one reason why people struggle with making music professionally. Is not only is it a very difficult and risky endeavor, but it's very time consuming. And so I mean, any business is like that. I remember the early days of when I became a life coach. I mean, I wasn't making any money as a life coach, so I was relying on all of my income as a personal trainer. And then slowly but surely, I started transitioning, and now health coaching is just a service that I provide, but it's not my bread and butter. Now the coaching and the programs are, glory to God for that. But I can imagine that it's difficult because there's so much competition for musicians, and you have to do a lot of legwork in the beginning before you get any attention. Like, how are you coping with that as a newer artist?
Yeah. In terms of competition, I would say that's not something I worry about,
That's good.
because if I'm worried about competition, that means that I don't trust my own work.
Your own product.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I At no point will I ever think, "Oh, I'm going to release this song and I don't think it's good." I wouldn't listen to it. That will never
Mm.
happen. I will never release anything that I wouldn't personally listen to. And I'm one of the most picky people I have ever met. So, I create music that I would listen to. And I know that if I will listen to it, then just by association, other people will listen to it because that means it's good. And I know people that they love finding new music all the time. And I know people
Yeah.
that don't. And
Yeah.
anyone, everyone that I have showed any of my songs to, whether it's something I've already released, like Take It All, or something I haven't released, like Better For You, it's all the same reaction, which is, wow, like I would listen to this. I love this. And that's not a testament to like build myself up, but just to say that when you care about something and you set the standard for yourself to make something amazing and then you follow through with that, you can do it. It's not like it's some unattainable thing that artists do. It's just I am very fortunate to have the skills that I have with guitar and with singing, and those are things that I practice all the time. It's like I've been able to put in the work in those areas, and then it's hard, like we were saying earlier, to be emotional with yourself and open and vulnerable. But
Yeah.
there's also,
Especially with the things that are, like I remember I used to have a very I wouldn't want to talk about it much, but I'm very open about it now. I went through a period of time where I I probably drank a little bit more than I should. And glory to God I didn't become a full blown alcoholic, but I was like teetering with certain things. And it's hard to admit that when you're going through it. It's a little bit easier to admit it when you're out and over it, like I am now. But people are, and rightly so. They're ashamed of it. And I get that, but it's hard to like tap into like the sins that you have genuinely struggled with. You know, and you're just trying to like, okay, what do I do? Like what do I do with that? How do I, you know? Do I want to help other people not go through the same problem? That's the reason why I'm public about it, because I think it's important because maybe it'll save someone who is afraid, and maybe they'll do something better, But I think that music has that power, don't you?
yeah, that's part of why, um, like we were talking about Olivia Rodrigo earlier, that's part of why her music is so impactful to me and it resonates
Mm,
with me because like I needed that at that time. I needed her as an artist and her music and the artist I listen to now. Like I it's a it's a part of being in tune with yourself because it's basically admitting and giving yourself the space, whether it's in headphones or in your earphones or whatever. It's
mm.
like you are literally telling yourself this this is what I need right now. This is what I'm going through right now. And that is comfort, and like that's the equivalent of talking about it without talking about it.
Without talking about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I spend a lot of time on Spotify. I have more playlists than I care to admit, and they're all custom made. And I listen to music for a ridiculous amount of time because for certain clients and for certain products, I drive. So I spend a lot of time in my vehicle. That time is mostly spent on either music or podcasts or audiobooks or having conversations with people that are important to me, and so I spend a lot of time listening. And yeah, I music has the power to change your mood, to make you cry. At least me, anyway. I cry. I'm a big crybaby with music. I've been inspired. I've been challenged. I've been motivated. I've been. It's been solace in moments of difficulty. And that's why I have a huge respect for musicians, because they can do that without even knowing who I am, and they're in a completely different place, and they may not even be alive anymore, and that's just so bizarre. Like someone who's dead is inspiring me now. That is. I mean, like, I don't even know what to think about that. Truly, truly, truly. What do you think about that, Mikey?
I think.
Alex says hello in the chat. Hi, Alex.
Hello,
Yeah,
Alex.
she put the clappy hands. Yeah, yeah.
I think that might have been a while ago.
Haha. Oh gosh, that was at 6:20.
Yeah.
Oh well,
Yeah.
sorry about that, Alex. That was like an hour ago. Anyways, continue.
I think that's the whole point. That's
That's
why
funny.
we do what we do. Is because it's
Mm.
not just for ourselves. Like if I wanted to just write for and make songs for myself, then you wouldn't know about them. But it's it's because I'm doing something authentic and then I'm sharing it, as opposed to like, this might be a bad example, but like um certain artists will make a song, and like what they're talking about in the song is it's all about like their fame and kind of like their clout.
Just about them.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
it's not necessarily for other people. It's not to inspire other people. It's for the sake of being an artist. But there are also so many artists that are not like that at all, and they genuinely make music for other people, and they want to inspire and help people and be there for people in a way that they wouldn't otherwise be able to. And so when I pass away, all of my music will still be up there, and I'll do everything I can to set it up that way. And hopefully, that's not anytime soon.
Hopefully not,
Yeah.
Mikey. You're 22,
Yeah,
bro. I mean,
that would be crazy.
but yeah, I get it. I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That will always be there for the people that need it. And the people that know me, they'll be able to find my music and be able to say, yeah, this is something that got me through this time. Or this is just an artist that I trust in a world that I don't trust. That's what it's all for.
You know, I have a son now. I have a newborn. And his name is Mauro Moises Schiavo Lopez. And, it's just interesting to me that he's going to grow up and listen to artists, and who knows, maybe he'll like your music, right?
Hopefully.
But it's interesting to me, hopefully, right? But I just find it interesting that yeah, there are people right now that are growing and are developing, and they will listen to people like just don't exist. I just like I know that we take it for granted because we have technology and blah blah blah, but it truly 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 is a very bizarre thing that we have gotten to the point, at least with technology, that we've basically been able to create permanence with things, and music is one of the permanence, is a type of permanence that I believe is a good thing. I think it's something that it's beautiful that we can be inspired by something that was written, 100 years ago. I find that amazing.
It's very similar in my opinion. Music is very similar as an art
Mm.
to painting, like visual art,
Yeah.
because the goal of a painter is to tell a story. And you only have so much space to tell the story with. You only have so many colors to use, so many techniques.
Yeah, that's true.
And especially if you're in one style, ideally you make something in the same style all the way through. And it could be very limiting. But that's a part of what makes it beautiful, is that it's difficult and it comes through difficulty. And an amazing painter can create something that inspires, that leaves you in awe. It can even want it can make you want to be an artist yourself. And so with music, it's that same concept. You might take 4 minutes looking at a painting and being inspired by it and then move on. And music is the same way. You take a 4-minute song, 3-minute song, you listen to it, it inspires you, you move on. Maybe you listen to it again, you put it in one of your playlists, but you appreciate it in a very similar way. And I just think that that's a beautiful comparison from my eyes.
Amen. I agree. As a life coach, I help people to make mundane things. And this is something that I did make myself. I call it master the mundane. I came up with that because the majority of life is mundane, and you spend a lot of time just doing things day in, day out. So if something takes up 80% of your life, you better master that, because whether if it's enjoyable or not, you better master it. I find that music is a cheat code, that music can help make unbearable things more bearable, like loading up the dishwasher, vacuuming the floor. At least for me, with my ADHD and my lack of my lack of love for things that are mundane. But I find that music has that power, and sometimes that 3 minute song can make a difference between you doing what you got to do or not, and that's pretty powerful. At least I think so.
Yeah, I agree. And like you were saying earlier, I am also a crier. I
Mm,
cry at everything,
you do?
everything, dude. Everything. And a part of
Mm,
that is I I let myself feel the things that I'm feeling, and I let things impact me. And as an artist, it's it is not a weakness. And
far from it.
um
It's a strength.
yeah, it's the reason why I'm able to do what I want to do. And there's there's a it's a musical album.
Okay,
It's called Epic. You've probably heard of it. Epic
I'm
the
sure.
musical.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, yeah. That
yeah.
I can't listen to almost any one of those songs without tearing up or getting emotional.
Really?
Yeah. And
Okay.
it's like it's it's part of a grander story, but each individual song is so incredibly profound with how they how they write a story and how that
Hmm.
story impacts me because I relate to it. And it's like, man, like you could write about anything and it's going to relate to someone. And the more honest and like deep it is, the more someone can relate to it. It's it's the equivalent of talking to someone at the surface level and then having a really deep conversation with them.
Right.
You might get emotional talking to someone that you've never met before if they're telling you their what's deep inside. And with music as a songwriter, it's capturing a story. It's capturing an emotion with a story
Yeah.
that best fits that for the time that you want to write it. And so a lot of my songs are they're almost story based, or I'm writing about sort of like an experience almost. Like with Take It All, going from verse to verse, I'm talking about different things, and they're fairly mundane things, but in the context that I'm setting up with the music and how I sing it, you know that it's reminiscent. You know that it's not a happy memory. It's a happy memory in a sad time. And yeah, and capturing that in the moment can be really easy. Capturing that not in the moment can be really difficult, which is
Yeah.
why I try my best to be as emotional as I can, just in life in general, because that's being present. But especially as an art form, that's being present in the art to be able to create incredible art.
Emotion is important, and I think if you want to build something that lasts, you have to be emotional, and I mean that in the best context possible. I mean, I have a part-time employee that has been working for us now for the last almost 5 months, and my wife also helps out part-time too. But you know we onboarded a new client today, and he was there on the call because I wanted him to see how I onboard, and how I serve and how I sell. So after the call with the prospect turned client, he was telling me about how, he went to a workout, and in the morning he does boxing. Ernesto's an amateur boxer, and he was talking about how, it was, he asked me, Mauro, have you ever felt, when you're doing a workout and you're exercising and you're so sore, but it feels good and you want to do it anyway? And I'm like, Ernesto, how much time do you have? Because I have felt that so much. And long story short, I ended up talking about, you know, Sifu, and we shared the same Sifu for a while, Sifu and John Michael Venegas, and I talked about how I got my first black belt and then my second black belt in Krav Maga, and just I started crying because I was like, Ernesto, when I first started this business, people told me that I wouldn't make it and that I needed to get a job. And I just got so emotional. And that was sparked just from like talking about exercise. But the emotions were real. And he's like, Mauro, thank you. Because like I'm very grateful that I'm working for someone that is not afraid to be real and honest. And music has that power. But you wanted to talk about exercise, so I think that's the last topic we'll dive into, And tell me about, like, why did you want to talk about exercise?
So the reason why I wanted to talk about it is because I know that it's a big part of your life,
Hmm.
and it's something that we
Yeah,
have in common for sure.
yeah, yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. I mean, I'm like, yeah, it is.
Yeah, you don't even have to think about it
Like,
for half a second. And
yeah.
for me as well,
Hmm.
it's a big part of my life. Whether I am always nurturing that is a different
It's a different story.
yeah, it's a different story. But I always want to. And in life, pretty much every single time, it's doing the difficult things that push you forward. And so for me, exercise is like, man, when I'm exercising, I mentally feel like I can conquer the world. Not in the middle of my exercise, but ongoing. When that's a part of my routine, it's like those
Hmm.
are some of the best days of my life. So I just feel it's so important to at least talk about, especially for me, because it's a big part of my life for sure.
A life coach that I had the honor and pleasure of working with, he was coached by a musician, and the musician that coached him, Rodney Mercado, was a violinist at the University of Arizona, and he was apparently a very, 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 very good violinist. And he would talk about how, the best chess champions were the ones that actually exercised because they would develop their lungs, and so they had more oxygen going to their brain. More oxygen going to their brains means that they're thinking clearer. Thinking clearer means that you're better able to execute your moves and to think 4, 5, 6, 7 moves ahead, as professionals often do. And he used that as an analogy, and he was really big about that in his musician as a musician, and having his students also be healthy. Has exercise helped your music in any way, shape, or form?
That's a good question. I'm not sure.
You're not
Honestly,
sure.
I'm not sure.
Well, now you'll definitely be thinking about it
I
the next time
will.
you work
Yeah,
out. I'm sure. Yeah.
definitely. And I think just by exercise being what it is, it gives you more energy. It gives you something to be excited about as well, outside of just whatever you're doing. It's a hobby, and not always being fully focused on one thing is a good thing. Having other aspects in your life, especially other things that are healthy for you,
In hobbies.
yeah,
Mm,
it'll always be beneficial. So I'm
mm.
sure that it is. Also, we didn't get to teaching. I don't know if I had put on
Teaching.
there.
Well, you did. No, and I was so surprised that you're teaching now. How
Yeah,
did that happen?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
That's a pretty cool job.
yeah. Yeah. Well, I needed a job, and I
That is
was
a job.
like, man, I just can't. I just can't under any circumstance, allow myself to dedicate a big part of my time in my life to doing something that I hate.
Yeah.
I just can't do it anymore.
You and me both, brother.
Yeah. And so,
That's why I'm not in an office.
yeah. And very, very fortunately for me, the first day that I went out, I went out to a couple of different music schools.
Yeah.
I applied. The school that I'm currently working at, they sat me down for an interview. It was divine timing because the owner just so happened to be right there front and center in the front desk. He pulled me to another room, gave me a very short interview. He asked me to play something for him. I played for him one of my songs, and I was pretty much hired on the spot. And so I've never felt more qualified for anything in my entire life. Yeah, it was. I'm very, very grateful for him and for that school in general. But teaching is something that I'm very passionate about, and I've always wanted to teach music. Always.
Michael, that's a gift, man. That's a gift. You have no idea how much of a gift that is. Maybe you do, but that's a gift to be able to build yourself as a musician and also work in music and make money doing that. I mean, yeah, maybe that job won't make you a millionaire, but the fact that you get to spend your time doing that, that is a huge blessing. It really is. It really is, man.
As well.
Yeah.
Because it's something that matters to me so much that anytime that it's like, oh, I got to wake up early or something, that's what gets me out of bed. It's like,
what gets you out of bed?
I need to do this. People rely on me to nurture their passion for music and to build their passion if they don't have it.
And to build it. And to guide them and to nurture them and to mentor them. All those things.
All of it. Yeah. And one day
You want to have your own school?
No. Well,
okay.
I'll get to it. I'll get to it. So
okay.
I would love more than anything if my music career would allow me the space to be able to teach people for free. I would love to do it. That's like goal number 2, aside from, being able to have a successful music career, is being able to teach people for free. I would love to do that. And that's just because I music is so important. And I feel like that's something that everyone should have the opportunity to have without having to pay for it.
Well, I don't usually like to tell people what to do, but it's an option. I would say, and as a coach, it's hard to resist of being of service. But I'm sure you've thought about this at the very least. Maybe you haven't. But a very low-hanging fruit for you to do that would be to just record yourself doing a couple lessons and putting them on YouTube. And maybe that's not what you want to do because you want to do it in person. But I've been inspired by random people on YouTube, so you never know who you'd inspire, Just putting it out there. Yeah.
Definitely. And it doesn't include the mentoring aspect of it that you were talking about.
I see.
And I feel like that's the biggest thing, because
I see.
You can be a very self-sufficient person and take a small amount of information on one video and use that to propel you. But you are your own coach. But not everyone is their own coach. And not everyone can have all the information all at once. And what brings me joy is having that interpersonal
interaction.
Yeah, and getting for me to see someone learn.
See the feedback and see it and get it live. Yeah, that's unique, man. It's different when we're recording 2 online courses now. And one of the things that we're trying to do is we're trying to make it as much as we can as if I was actually in the room with that person. So I do this a lot on YouTube. Like when I make a video, it's very tacky, but I always say hello, good morning, how are you, happy Tuesday. I want people to know that I'm talking to them. I'm not talking into the ether. Maybe it's tacky, but I think it's important to make people feel like you're talking to them, right?
I agree completely.
And music, you just have such a unique way to do that, man, with music, you know?
Also,
I know I keep going back to that, but yeah.
it's, it's why we're here. But quick question: have you listened to Take It All?
And I haven't, and I'm gonna listen to it tonight. So
Yeah,
right after our call, I'm gonna listen to it, and I'm gonna put a link for it in the show notes wherever you have it posted. That way, people can listen to it and download it,
and definitely let
or
me know what you.
subscribe, or however else they can support you financially.
Thank you. Yeah, I definitely appreciate that. But
You're welcome.
definitely let me know what you think if you.
What I think,
Yeah, if you enjoy it.
I will.
All of my social medias are the same. I was fortunate enough to be able uh, to get everything homogenous. So,
How can people find you
well, I'm
online?
on. Yeah, I'm on Instagram. I'm on
Okay,
TikTok and on YouTube as well.
okay. And what's your handle
The Michael Garcia
for two
with
A's?
two A's at the end. Yeah, Garcia at the end with two A's.
Okay, okay.
Very simple.
Very simple.
Yeah.
Yeah, very simple to remember. Is there Man, you've been so generous with your time, and I really appreciate that because I think this has been a fantastic episode of the podcast. But is there anything that we haven't covered yet that you'd like to finalize covering as we close? Anything else you'd like to say?
Let's see. I am releasing a second.
Okay,
Very.
there it
Yeah.
is. Yeah.
My first single and my second single are a part of the album that I am trying to release. One song at a time. I have everything written already. It's all copyrighted, everything, the works. It's just about getting it to a state that it's perfect for you guys to listen and love.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for that gift. So, two singles. So we got Take It All, which is already released. Better for You, which is coming out soon.
Yeah. New Year,
Okay.
around like January.
So very soon.
Yeah, very, very, very soon.
Oh, wonderful. Wow. People can find you at the Michael Garcia.
Yeah. And everything I do
And
is in the highest quality as well. A lot of people don't know about spatial audio, Dolby Atmos, but
Mhm.
I take
Wow.
I take every step to just doing the best.
To make it hear sound good.
Yeah, yeah. Dolby Atmos it's more specific to YouTube and Apple Music.
Okay.
Definitely more Apple Music for sure. But that's just the extra step that I can take, thankfully. And although it's expensive, it's
You're investing in it for your listeners.
yeah, for sure. That's for you guys.
That's always a mark of a good entrepreneur who puts his clients and his people first. Good for you, Michael. You've certainly gotten off to a very good start. So, can people listen to your current single on Apple Music and Spotify?
Yeah, everywhere.
They can. Okay. Well, define everywhere.
It's
Yeah.
on literally everywhere that you can listen to music. It's
SoundCloud,
places
even
that I don't even
SoundCloud.
yeah, it's on places that I
Yeah,
don't even know the names of.
I don't even know what they're
I
called,
don't
but
even
it's
know
there.
what they're called, but it's there. So like literally everything. It would be almost impossible for you to not find it somewhere.
Gotcha.
Definitely put my name in it as well if you don't go through a link.
Okay. Okay.
I'm not a big artist at all. Almost no following yet since I just started. So
But you just started, man.
yeah.
And you're gonna build it. You're gonna build it. You're gonna build it, man. It's gonna be a good thing. Good thing you're building, man. And the most important thing is that you're in it. You're in the work. And oftentimes a lot of aspiring artists, they stay just that, aspiring artists. And there's something to be said about people that are courageous enough to get out there and write a single and invest in it and put their money where their mouth is and make it. So, honestly, I have a huge amount of respect for you as a man and as an aspiring, well, not aspiring artist, current artist who already has a single and is having a second one come out in 2026. What a way to start the year. Everyone, please, 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 it's a very easy, free way to support him. Listen to it on Spotify at the very least. Can people leave are there any, on your social media, like, is there a way to leave you, like, if people want to say, hey, nice song, should they just inbox you, DM you, or what?
Yeah, whatever they want.
Okay.
Comment, a DM, anything. Happy.
Wonderful. Everyone, we're going to be listing in the show notes, we're going to be writing in the show notes links to his music, his upcoming music, his current music, his social media pages. Everything's going to be there. So please, please, please read the video description. And in the comments section, we're also going to be linking that at the very least. That way you can see the music. So please, please, please pay attention to that. Support him. Support him, because we need young men that are courageous enough to step out into something as risky as being a professional musician and are actually going for it. So we need to help. We need to help the next generation, the current generation, be successful. So it's my call to action for you. Even if you're listening to this and you don't subscribe to my YouTube channel, that's totally fine. But well, it's not totally fine, but it's fine. I'd rather you give your support to Michael, because he is our guest. So please, please, please check him out. And Michael, do you have any last words for the audience?
Oh, man, it's been such a pleasure to be here, to be talking with you, to see your business be successful and to keep growing. And
Thank
that's
you.
just so incredible for me. So thank you for having me.
Yeah. Yeah, man. We didn't talk about this much, but I think there's at least one thing we should say. We've known each other for many years, and you knew me before I was even a coach at all. So, you, even at a distance, you sometimes, I'm sure you said, "Oh, look at him, like he's doing something else now."
Every
So,
time.
I appreciate your words now that you're saying it. The podcast name on YouTube, Alex, is the Academy for Adventurers podcast. Yeah. So for everyone in the audience watching, because we do have a few people watching live, but for those of you who are going to watch this when it's posted, yeah, it's the Academy for Adventurers podcast. And Michael Garcia, it was a pleasure, an honor to have you on. Thank you for what you do. Thank you for being authentic. Thank you for being real. We need people who are real. We need people who are willing to serve and serve with their gifts and talents as God has given them. So, everyone, thank you for watching. Remember, every step of your life is an adventure, and you are the hero of your own story. Thank you for watching. Michael, goodbye. Thank you. I appreciate it. Wave to the audience. Okay, bye. Mwah! That's good. We should start.